Hello everyone and welcome to my new video series in which I want to tell you about the Lancer role-playing game by Massif Press, kickstarted in May 2019. Massif Press is the collaboration effort of Tom Parkinson-Morgan and Miguel Lopez. During this video series I will explore the basic premise of the game, the lore behind it all, the factions, and, if time permits and interest exists, the mechanics of it all. So let's start with a quick top-level view. What is Lancer? Lancer is a tabletop role-playing game set in the distant future where mankind has fallen thousands of years ago and climbed back to the top again. Thousands of planets are now settled and all are under the hegemony of Union, a distant galactic overlord that most common people don't know more about than perhaps the name, if that. And so far, it seems that mankind is almost entirely alone. In this world, there's war, terror, genocide, and other evils, and the characters you play as are the Lancers, mech pilots akin to fighter aces in our world today, highly skilled, piloting machines that are awesome and dangerous alike. A lot of this power and danger comes from things that go beyond causality, weapons that should not exist, systems that either only vaguely border on logic or outright jump into paracausality head-on. These mechs are the equivalent to the cavalry in warfare and tactics. They are comparatively rare if you look at the larger picture, where vehicles and infantry still dominate, but they are the crushing force that will turn the tide, that will move in unexpectedly and flip the tables something fierce. Some Lancers fight for Union, being the ones to try and force compliance to beneficial codex, trying to prevent genocide, infighting, exploitation and slavery. Others fight for the Albatross, the relativistic paladins, yet others fight for the corporate states, minor empires and realms, or even as mercenaries to whoever pays the big mana. Perhaps you are even a mysterious warrior order that follows the dictates of a monolith that keeps shifting its unknowable hieroglyphs to communicate with you and only you. Who exactly you are and who you fight for is wide open field, allowing for plenty of different stories to be told, unified only by the fact that all of the characters are Lancers. This is what I want to show you and tell you about. Lancer captured my attention once I gave it a cursory read beyond Mechs in the far future, and became one of my beloved games once I fully read the lore and had delved into the mechanics. It's a relatively crunch-light game still, but offers more than enough customization and systems to engage with me, to keep me, and hopefully you, happy. So now let's actually go ahead and delve into the setting. It's 5016 and our arm of the galaxy is home to trillions. It is not a safe space, but it burns bright. For some, there are gentle lands. Out from our humble beginnings, humanity has colonized the darkness. We have set empty worlds and barren moons alight with civilization, have tamed asteroids and gas giants, have even built homes in the hard vacuum of space itself. We have taken root throughout our arm of the Milky Way galaxy. In every situation and setting, humanity has made their home. Life, however it expresses itself, continues. Stories begin and end across the stars, the most never leave the world they were born to. But for some, life is as a river, ever moving, with the land of their birth left somewhere far behind. Traders and smugglers, refugees and immigrants, miners, pirates, scientists, volunteers, colonists, soldiers and conscripts, humanity on the move, always. Wars pull hundreds of thousands into the current, trade and migration yet more. For every 10 stable homes, there is one family's worth that has been uprooted for good or ill. Blink gates dot the galaxy. These massive starbound stations, gatehouses, tap into an unknowably vast and strange plane known as the Blink to facilitate safe, instant travel, opening all corners of the deep to the daring. These portals are common to those with the ability, access, and clearance to enjoy it. Thousands of ships travel through the Blink each standard day for trade, migration, travel, war, or any myriad other purpose. The Omninet connects all of humanity to one another, a decentralized network that links every computer, every server, everything to everything. More than just a way to communicate, more than just a way for far-flung worlds to read the galaxy's news and listen to the music of the spheres, the Omninet is another layer on top of all communications, facilitating government, industry, and more esoteric technologies. Data is the new wealth, and the Omninet allows for the sharing of the wealth of all worlds. Mana is the universal currency uniting all disparate nations of the human diaspora. A single currency based on a combination of material wealth, labor, intellectual property, experience, and data that any market on any planet will accept as fair currency. When a galaxy's wealth of raw resources is available for exploitation, what becomes valuable is not gold, but data. This vast spread of humanity, these trillions of souls, is administered by a single administrative body, Union, the Germanic council that rules from Cradle, the ancestral home of the human diaspora, Earth and Mars, Mercury and Venus, Saturn, Jupiter, Neptune, and Uranus, Io, Titan, Europa, Phobos, and Deimos, Sol. These worlds and moons around this warm yellow star form Cradle, the seat of Union's power and the very heart of humanity. Union controls the triumvirate of progress, the Blink Gates, the Omninet, and Mana. Without the triumvirate, without Union, the galaxy falls into chaos. Fictionalized in Omninet dramas and novels, dreamt about by children and wanderers, idealized as the promised land, or darned as the pits from whence we came by religions across the galaxy. Few have ever seen a Union administrator or suffered a Union naval campaign. For all its control over human affairs, Union prefers to rule from a distance. The galaxy, despite its interconnectedness, is a dangerous place. Rebellion, insurrection, piracy, and civil wars, even wars between worlds, flare up and burn their way through Union space, though only the most desperate or dangerous of conflicts require Union's direct attention. Disputes between Union subject states are common enough that there is a need for militaries, militias, and mercenaries. 5 major suppliers have permeated the galaxy to offer arms and armor to those with mana enough to afford them and an Omninet connection with enough bandwidth to download them. Into this broad and dangerous environment come the players. You take on the role of a Lancer, Mech pilot, or pilot for short, in a squadron with your fellow players. Whatever the conflict, whatever the scale, you can bet that Lancers will be involved. Together, you and your squadron will run missions as the tip of the spear, fighting in only the most dangerous and important engagements. You're the backbone, the heroes, the knights in shining armor, the decorated aces sent in when all hope seems lost and victory must be assured. In short, you, the players, are the cavalry, whose lives are lived in the river. Your character in the world of Lancer is a mechanized cavalry pilot of particular note, a Lancer. You play as one of the cavalry. Whatever the mission, whatever the terrain, whatever the enemy, you are the one who gets called in to break the siege, to hold the line. By the time the drop klaxons sound, it's up to you to save the day. Your pilot hails from a world and culture of your choice and description, but is human. You might call Earth home, or, as a Terran would call it, Cradle. But to be born on Earth in the Age of Union is exceedingly rare. No, it is far more likely that your pilot hails from the broad human diaspora. In the canon setting of Lancer, it has been millennia since we left Earth, and the majority of humanity live among the stars and habitable worlds in our arm of the Milky Way. In Lancer, humanity is familiar and strange in equal measure. As best as we know, the only sentient sapient beings in our stellar neighborhood are other humans. There are many roads to becoming a pilot featured in a Lancer campaign. You could represent the end product of a heavy technological and capital investment on the part of your employers. Or you could be a born prodigy, a wunderkind who commands their chassis with an innate grace and ability discovered by a secretive recruiter. You could be a lucky conscript, a battle-proven draftee who managed to survive their first job, promoted by desperate commanders looking for a hero. You could be the chosen heir of a centuries-long atemporal monarchy destined to inherit your poly-patriarch's chassis. You could be a jaded volunteer from a Union Liberator team, spurred by a closely guarded ember of hope for a better future. An anointed loyal wing, a facsimile of a long-dead pilot grown in batches of thousands, a spacer who heard the deep whispers of Ra. However your character came to sit in the cockpit of their mech, they are the sum of many parts. Enhanced through some combination of training, natural skill, battlefield experience, and/or neural or physical augmentation, a mech pilot is the equivalent of a knight of old, a flying ace, or other prestige class warrior. Mech pilots, they will proudly tell you, are a cut above the rest. They are not entirely wrong. Recruiting, training, and maintaining a mech pilot involves a tremendous amount of capital and time investment compared to your average soldier. To operate a mech at peak efficiency, a pilot needs to have extensive physical and mental training and be outfitted with advanced, expensive physical and ontological augmentations. Washout rates are high, as are entry rates as a result of the demanding training process, but this high bar is necessary. Once a candidate has attained their final certifications and has been shipped out to their first post, they face only the most dangerous missions. Mechs and their pilots aren't sent in to keep the peace, they are sent in when all other options have failed. Remember, your history besides, your pilot is ultimately a human being, just as flawed as the rest of us, as perfect as the rest of us. Pilots are heroes and villains, brave souls and cowards, lovers and fighters all. Some stand when everyone else flees or are the first to run to danger, representing the best and the brightest of us. But they too break under pressure, fail and kill when they could have saved or spared. Pilots come from all walks of life. Station, criminal status, wealth. The tides of war and the machinations of powers that be guarantee that, once a candidate has been identified, there are no disqualifying factors for their recruitment. Congratulations! You've made it through selection and training. You now have the requisite certifications, you have your first post, and you're en route to meet your new squadron. This is the last real downtime you've got before you start your tour, so acquaint yourself with the rules and regulations. Write down a bit about yourself. Figure out a call sign, something in common so that everyone knows your talk. You're a pilot now, but you're still a rookie. A greenhorn, a wet behind the ears boot with no real space jobs notched on your helmet. Maybe you're gonna make a name for yourself out there on the line, or maybe some deck techs will hose you out of whatever remains of your cockpit. Either way, as they say, you're a cut above the rest. Let's see what you've got.